Well, good afternoon, and welcome to the third demo day of the Global Insurance Accelerator. Again, my name is Jeff Russell, and I'm the President and CEO of Delta Dental of Iowa, and I have the pleasure of serving as the board chair for the Global Insurance Accelerator. It's been an amazing 3 years for the GIA. We've helped to accelerate 12 graduate companies, and we're pleased to share with you 6 fantastic additions today. By every metric, we're succeeding. Number of investors, number of mentors, impact on the market. And yet I still remind Brian that we're a startup too. There are many opportunities for us to focus on, but we're laser focused on innovation in the insurance industry. As a leader in insurance innovation, the GIA continues to get smarter on where to put our resources to help our companies. And we'll continue to grow and change to meet the market. We'll introduce to you today 2 of our newest investors, EMC Insurance Company and Markel, along with Mutual of Omaha, who joined us in 2016. And we believe that we'll have opportunities for innovation in the coming year. New venues, new partnerships, new programs that can help drive innovation in the insurance industry. So why do we do this? Our insurance industry investors wake up every day knowing that innovation is key to our own survival and that of our industry. So the GIA remains focused on innovation in our industry. So let me remind you what the GIA is. We're the premier startup accelerator focused on innovation in insurance-related industries. We're part of a worldwide network called the Global Accelerator Network, or the GAN. And our goal is to build an ecosystem of startups, interested insurance companies, venture capital, and entrepreneurs that are focused on insurance innovation. Our process starts in the fall. We have hundreds of teams and companies that apply to come to Des Moines in January for 100 days, so you know they're dedicated. And from that, we pick 6 companies. We provide them with a $40,000 investment in return for a small equity stake in their company. Once they come to Des Moines for that 100 days, they have an opportunity for intensive programming to build their business. We partner them with mentors from across the country, both insurance and non-insurance, to help them grow. At the GIA, our formula matters. Our secret sauce is our collaborative insurance companies, our dedicated mentors, and the unique program that focuses on our portfolio company's success. But the key is still our more than 110 mentors who are volunteers who help these companies. They're experts from Des Moines and across the country. They represent insurance professions and non-insurance specialties as well, like sales and marketing and technology. And they're dedicated to helping these companies grow and succeed. The mentor-driven process is critical to the success of the GIA. These companies aren't going it alone. They have years of experience around them to help guide them. Industry-leading professionals from around the country in many disciplines and advisors that offer real-world experience. Through the work with individual teams and by serving on panels, these mentors have shared their expertise in a variety of areas. They're the drivers that help our companies succeed in the market. And none of this could be possible without our current investors, and I'd like to thank them personally. American Equity, Delta Dental, EMC, Farm Bureau Financial, Grinnell Mutual, Markel, Mutual of Omaha, IMT, and Principal. And I'd like to thank 3 other people as well. 2 of our outside directors on our board, Sheldon Olringer and Tej Dewan, and from the Greater Des Moines Partnership, Mike Caldwell. So last year I showed a similar slide. It's the growth of investment in InsurTech in the past 5 years. And I have to tell you, you know things are going well when you have your own hashtag, InsurTech. Clearly there's more interest and more venture capital in our business than maybe ever in history. And while this is good, I think we should pay attention to the lessons from other industries as well. This is the Gartner Hype Cycle graph. Many of you have seen it. Gartner Consulting has published their hype cycle for many years, and usually it relates to technologies or other innovations. These technologies rise through the peak of inflated expectations, drop into the trough of disillusionment, come back to the slope of enlightenment, and settle in at the plateau of productivity, where there's this equilibrium between what the expectations are and what can be delivered. And this can happen in capital markets too. And I think InsurTech is likely on this trajectory as well. From the time of the tulip bubble in Holland, capital markets have gone through these peaks and valleys. And that's okay. When capital comes into the market, many great companies get funded. But at GIA, our focus isn't to ride the bubble of inflated expectations and then leave the market once we hit the trough. We're focused on sustainable innovation for the insurance industry, and our goal is to exist through many economic and capital cycles to be a long-term resource. So how do we do this? Well, one of our key tenets at the GIA is to help our companies build an income statement, not just a balance sheet. So what do I mean? Many accelerators focus on having companies perfect a pitch to gain investment from venture capital firms and strategic investments. And don't get me wrong, funding is important in the trajectory of a startup. But here's what's different about the GIA. Our focus is on building an income statement, getting a real company, real customers to pay real money for real value versus on just focusing on your next round of funding. We clearly want that funding to happen for these companies, but we know that if a company has customers and revenue, that investment will follow. And that's what ultimately will take each of them through their own hype cycle. There are other accelerators in the insurtech space, and as the first industry-focused accelerator in the world, we welcome them. Our focus has always been about quality over quantity, and I feel great about the 6 companies you're going to hear from today. Let me add a final note about innovation. Peter Drucker said, "Culture eats strategy for breakfast." What he meant was that a company's culture would trump any attempt to create a strategy that was incompatible. It's impossible to execute a strategy that your culture won't support. And so our goal at the GIA is to help our investors impact their culture as well as their strategy. And frankly, opening an innovation lab just isn't enough. You can't just hire a person, open a cool lab space, and expect success. I spent 20 years in the financial technology world, and I saw a graveyard of incubators, accelerators, and labs that thought they could do that just because it was that easy. But as business leaders, we know that ideas are usually the easy part. It's the execution that's hard. And that's what we help our investors focus on, building and sustaining a culture of innovation across their organization. Rather than have innovation be a place you go, it's got to be a part of your organizational DNA. It's got to be embedded from underwriting to operations to technology. And that's what makes the GIA different. Because we combine startups and mentors and established companies, they're all collectively working to create innovation that works on the ground and then drive for those results that are so hard. Each of these companies that you're going to hear from today has been pushed and prodded to be better. They receive coaching and encouragement, and yes, a bit of criticism, but it's all to make them better. But in the end, it makes us better as well. Because what we've learned is that when you combine innovative entrepreneurs and established industry professionals, something magical happens. You get solutions that understand the problems we have, yet bring new and innovative ideas to solve them. Frankly, you get innovation that can work on the ground. So why focus on startups from innovation? Because many say there's plenty of innovation established at traditional insurance companies. And in fact, there is. But when we look at a problem or opportunity as an established company, we often approach it in a traditional way. We form a team, we write a project charter, we brainstorm, we assign a project manager who often has 2 or 3 of these projects, and we go about it the way that we typically do. And sometimes that's okay. But with a startup, it's a race against insolvency. There's real urgency. They tend to spend more time in the market understanding what people will pay real money for. And in my past experience, veterans would say, well, you know, that idea failed in 1994, so I don't think we should try it again. But with startups, when they see a market, they just go after it. They go to market, they pivot, they fail, they try again, they have success, and then they leverage that success. And while not every idea succeeds, the focus and effort teaches us all. They take an outside-in point of view. They look at disruptive approaches that might not happen inside our walls. And they bring an entrepreneur's fresh perspective to problems and opportunities. You know, in many industries, the incumbents aren't worried about their next largest competitor. They're worried about 2 kids in a garage with a dramatically different point of view revolutionizing their world. And I've been told that that's difficult to do in the insurance industry. The regulatory requirements, the capital needs, the infrastructure make it difficult for early entrants to succeed in our market. And I think that's what incumbents have thought for decades, right until it changes in front of their eyes. So we believe the best way to predict the future is to create it, and we invite you to join us. For the industry, we see new investment and new focus on innovation and startups, which is a great thing. For our investors, we see the future, and we'd welcome your participation in the future as a mentor or an investor. And for our companies, this is truly the beginning. So let's get on with the show. Sometimes these Accelerator demo days have a Hollywood production feel to them. They have smoke show and laser light shows, and we're not going to do that consistent with our mission. We're going to focus on the substance rather than the sizzle. However, as Brian mentioned, there is one piece of sizzle for us, so remember the standing ovation for our teams. Thanks so much.